Today I'm going to talk to you about the Wessex Tuba's PBF562 bass trombone. We'll just jump right in, start talking about the slide section. It is a 562 board slide, rather standard for bass trombone, at least to my knowledge. We have a yellow brass outer slide, a nickel inner slide. The yellow brass outer slide I do find a little bit heavy, but overall the slide operates as a slide should. Smooth, no binding, no slow spots, even performance across the slide. Something I would like to note that I personally don't like is the spacing on the hand grips. It's rather wide for my taste, especially compared to my other trombones. I do double. And so when I am doubling, I end up having tuning issues when I first switch instruments, whether it be to or from the bass trombone. Next, we'll just move right on over to the valve section. It is a rather standard rotary valve independent setup where you have an F attachment, G flat attachment, and when both triggers are pressed at the same time, it tunes to D. The valves do operate rather smoothly, though when I first received the instrument, and I didn't figure this out for the first 6 months, I did have a seizing and binding issue with the F attachment, and I eventually found that this was because the valve was installed too tight, creating extra friction and even scratching within the valve. This has since been resolved, issue's been fixed, and it performs fantastic, in my opinion. The tuning slides for the valve sections are offset over towards the bell side of the instrument, which I personally find makes it a little more straining on my left hand to hold, just because of the way the instrument is balanced. The trigger for the G flat attachment is very long and actually extends at a fairly wide angle away from the hand grip, which I personally find makes the instrument a little less comfortable to hold, but still doable. There are times where I experience so much hand strain that I need to put down this instrument, I need to take a break from it, so really long practice sessions for me are rather difficult, just because of how it feels on my hand. Next, we'll just quickly talk about the bell section. There's a 9.5-inch gold brass bell. Now, an interesting experience that I had was when I ordered this instrument, at the time it was listed as a rose brass instrument. I even have that information on the receipt. And obviously that is not what I received. But that is perfectly fine by me. Why? Because I wanted a gold brass bell, and it was an option that was not currently listed. But it all works out well for me in the end. The website does currently have it listed as a gold brass bell, which I can only assume is how it's being shipped. Now, overall with this instrument, I do have a glaring issue. Something that everyone will agree is an issue. The main tuning slide is not freely moving. If I extend the tuning slide too far out, I have to take apart the entire instrument, remove all the slides, all the other tuning slides, and then put way too much force than I would ever want on a bell section in order to close the tuning slide. And even at this distance, it is difficult to bring the tuning slide back in. And I'll talk about why I have this all the way in after I play a little bit for you. We'll be playing using a Bach 1.5G. Alright, now I'm going to talk about my experience playing this instrument. I've had this instrument since January of 2020, so I've had this instrument for just a little shy of a year now. There are things that I like about it, and there are things I absolutely hate about it. And the reason why there are things I hate about it is because it makes it difficult to play. The greatest difficulty is in the intonation of this instrument. Now, before I started playing, I mentioned that I would explain why I keep the tuning slide in all the way. And it is because it is in this position that this instrument is as close as I can get it to tuned. With it all the way in, pedal B flat is a touch sharp. Your low B flat is just in tune. And then middle B flat, the B flat above it, is flat. And so because of this, it makes it rather difficult to play. Another thing that kind of bothers me is that the slots for the partials are not very well defined. If you don't have a very confident buzz, it's easy to find yourself off-center and not getting that full resonance that you can get with the instrument.
Now, what I do really like about this trombone is in the valve section. With it being an open wrap valve section, there's not much back pressure added when you're playing through the valves. They're very open blowing, and that's something I really like. The action in the valves is fast enough that I don't have any issues when using them. The other trombone that I play is a closed wrap or traditional wrap F attachment. And so when I'm playing through the valve on that instrument, there is more back pressure. It's not as open blowing of a valve. which I'm personally finding that I prefer a more open blowing valve. Other instrumentalists or other trombonists will actually prefer a closed wrap because of that back pressure, because they want that in their instrument.
There are some people that that I would recommend this instrument to. Those people would primarily be those on a tight budget, schools that need a bass trombone within their selection, within their inventory, so that a student can be introduced to one. Someone such as myself, who is a passionate hobbyist, who doesn't have the money or the budget or the time devoted to the instrument to justify spending several times more on a beautiful bass trombone. It's people such as that I can recommend this instrument to. But keep in mind that there will be shortcomings. There will be things difficult about this instrument to play. Now, if you're not among any of those people, those categories that I listed, then this instrument probably isn't for you. Simply because there are things about it that will hold you back as a serious instrumentalist. Even if you are on a tight budget, I would recommend continuing to save up, looking on the used market but looking for a higher quality used bass trombone. It'll run you more money, yes, but you'll be thanking yourself, because it will not have as many limitations in its playing as this instrument does. Now, I hope the information I provided will be helpful to you in helping with potential decision making. If you have any questions about this instrument, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them.